So imagine that you get one invitation to go out tonight. Everyone goes, but instead of saying yes with enthusiasm, you feel one deep relief when you refuse. No guilt, just of peace. If this scene speaks to you, you are not antisocial. You are not broken. And especially you are not alone in this feeling. Your channel to decipher the hidden of the human brain. Today in our very first video, we dive into one subject that affects 1,000 people, the psychology of those who really prefer motherhood. But first, let's clarify one essential thing, because that's where most of the misunderstandings begin to destroy, is not the same as painful surgery. La loneliness, negative visibility, is when you feel isolated against your gray. It is one painful lack of connection, which activates the same areas of the brain than physical pain. Recent studies show that it increases stress, anxiety, and even health risks. But the positive is when you choose to be alone and it's the opposite. It is one voluntary state of peace, of refill, of freedom. Research in psychology, such as work on self-regulation and the theory of self-determination, proves that time alone, selected, reduces high stress, calms the intense emotions, and even boosts the feeling of autonomy. You feel free, without external pressure. In 2025-2026, the experts clearly distinguish. Those who prefer motherhood do not run away from others. They protect themselves and restore themselves, and often they come out stronger. Then why? Some of us feel so lonely. Which hidden psychological trait explains? That's what we'll decode right after. Let's move on now. At the heart of the subject, what are these psychological traits that make some people not only tolerate loneliness, but actively prefer it and flourish there? Here are the 7 most recurrent traits, supported by positive psychology research. Self-determination theory. And recent studies on positive modeling, this leg chooses who recharges rather than exhausts. One, self-awareness, exceptionally high self-awareness. When you spend time alone without surgery, your brain to space to observe its own processes, you analyze your emotions, your motivations. You're paternal to think without external filter. Studies show that lovers score higher on the self-concept. Clarity 1, clarity about who you really are. No social mask, no role-to-play result. You make decisions in line with your true values. And you avoid the regrets that many. 1, solid and mature emotional independence. These people do not need external validation, constant compliment or presence of others to feel good. Their self-esteem is internal. According to self-determination theory, it is the psychological autonomy. You regulate your emotions alone, and you manage the rejection without collapsing. It is one rare force in one world, where many depend on others for their mood. One boost of creativity and deep thoughts. The cell activates the default network mode of the brain that generates original ideas when you are not in task without interruption. Unexpected connections? Figures like Einstein or Virginia Woolf, valuing creativity to think about. Recent research confirm that time alone increases more creativity and imagination. 1, better emotional regulation and more resilience. B, alone allows to treat one's emotions without social judgment. We learn to calm anxiety and digest sadness. Studies show that a few minutes of selected reduce stress and agitation, promoting calmer states, and 1 better resistance to difficulties. 1 preference for deep connections. They are not antisocial but selective. Resin avoids superficial interactions. When he sees someone, it is for authentic exchanges and significant results. Fewer relationships but stronger. 1 strong sense of autonomy. People who love chocolate better control their time and energy. They feel less submissive to social expectations and freer in their choice. 1, sensitivity to social overload. Many are introverted or very sensitive to noise, light, and conversation. Multiple can tire them quickly. Fat then becomes a way to recharge their energy. These features are not defects. In one hyperconnected society like creativity, can be one sign of maturity and inner strength. It is not isolation, it is one alignment with oneself. But how to turn this ring into a real super power on a daily basis? What we will see in the following. Yes, so do you prefer fat is one superpower? The answer is yes, but only when it is one conscious and balanced choice. When you are able to stay alone without feeling empty. It means that you have developed something very rare in our modern society. One real relationship with yourself. Many people spend their lives fleeing silence because the silence forces them to confront their thoughts. But you learn to make this silence one reflection space of healing and growth. In one world where everything grows to hyperconnection or notifications, social networks and social expectations constantly solicit us. To appreciate motherhood has almost become one act of mental resistance. 3 is the ability to say, I don't need permanent noise to exist. When you appreciate the smoke, you also learn something very important. Your happiness does not depend entirely on others. When the molecule becomes one total isolation, when it cuts you off from others or prevents you from creating meaningful human ties, it can start to weigh on your mind. Human beings remain social creatures. Even people who like surgery need, from time to time, of serious relationships, deep and nourishing. So if you sometimes prefer to be alone, remember this. No, it is not one defect. This is not a problem to correct. Now, I would like to ask you one question. Do you recognize yourself in these features? Are you part of those people who find peace in silence? Who think deeply and who feel well in their own company? If this is the case, write in the comments. Solitude 2. Or just share your favorite moment when you are alone. Read, walk, think, listen to music. Pray, or just stay calm. Your stories can inspire you from other people who sometimes think they are different, when in reality it has just one depth that not everyone has. If this video helped you to better understand your personality and your spirit, take 1 second to put one like. It helps the channel a lot to reach more people. And of course, subscribe to Psychology. Decode and activate the bell so as not to miss the next few psychological decodings. Here we explore human behavior, psychology, and the invisible mechanisms that shape our mind. In the next video, we will talk a subject that affects a lot of people. The psychology of people who think too much. Why their brains never stop. And especially how to learn to calm this hyperactive mind. Thank you for watching Psychology of Codites. Take care of your mind. Protect your inner peace. And remember that sometimes silence is the place where you really discover yourself. See you soon.